The mistake I have made is to go along with the party line of some Christians who say you have to be of this party and have all of these views if you're a Christian. My name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says, "Oh, hey, you're a mom? That is fabulous." But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's Channel Mom with Jenny Dean Schmitz. We're here for you.
Brought to you by the Healthy Marriage Project. Just click on one of their ads to find out about a healthy relationship workshop near you. Most moms that I know have at least some concept of God. It's very hard to have a child and not start to reach for something bigger than yourself that created that baby, because let's just be honest, you did not create that baby. I don't care what the original act was. You did not create that baby, you know?
Well, even as they get older, they have so many questions.
Yeah.
About where things came from or what happens when you die
and kids yearn for God. Kids yearn for God. And so I think a lot of mommies come to God and in many cases to Jesus because of their kids. That happened to me. But today's conversation is going to be a little bit nitty gritty. It might be offensive to some people, hopefully not. But we're going to talk to an author named Dan King, who co-authored a book called Activist Faith, and it's about how we tend to pigeonhole what a Christian can be in politics, and how really we should not be so concerned about the politics and the parties, but rather how do we just help the world? How do we bypass all the political fights and all of the backstabbing and just go help the world?
Or each individual.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say this briefly. I have been guilty of this myself. Do you equate your particular Christian faith with a particular arm of politics? I'm guilty as charged in the past. How about you, Shell?
I would say no, because I can separate politics into like the 4 groups that you learn in school. Isn't that a terrible answer? Because there's social, there's an economical.
Oh, and so
there's the 2 pieces of the politics.
Yeah. And so you would just say, I'm a little bit this way on this, I'm a little bit that way. Right.
Socially, I probably lean this way, but economically, I lean this way.
Yeah.
Which I think the 2 parties are opposed in both social and economic policies.
But having worked in politics myself, you'd be surprised at how similar they are when it gets down to raising money. They'll say just about whatever they need to, and they'll side with just about whoever they need to, and they'll become as moderate as they need to or as extreme as they need to get the money. I mean, really, because I worked in politics for several years and I discovered that. Yeah, I like that you say that. As usual, you're very reasonable. What I'm about to say is, I'm actually a declared independent, and I do that in California. When I lived there, I was a nonpartisan. I did that on purpose because I was a journalist and I didn't want anybody to look me up and say, you have a bias because you're a registered whatever. Now, the mistake I have made is to go along with the party line of some Christians who say you have to be of this party and have all of these views if you're a Christian. I've worked very hard on this show not to give my political views. I probably do lean sometimes toward the party that everybody thinks evangelical Christians lean toward.
As do I.
Right. But I also have seen how damaging that has been when we divide that way, because we lose so many people that we could win over to Christ because we're so insistent on our politics, more so than our faith sometimes. And so I just want to give a shout out to that issue, right? I mean, it's out there.
It is out there. It is. A lot on Facebook, even like our pastors.
Yeah.
They get on Facebook and they'll go over the issues.
Yeah. And my pastor happens to feel very strongly about this issue, that we really need to stop using politics to be divisive and invite everybody to get to know God and to get to know Jesus. He's written a book, by the way, that we recommend here on the show called Why We Eat Our Own, about how Christians beat each other up and beat other people up in the name of Jesus, and that can be damaging. And he gets very honest about the stories that he has seen unfold, and he invites you to come back, even if you've been hurt, or invite somebody else to come back who's been hurt by reading his book. It's convincing in the sense that it's not God's fault that people behave that way. So a book by Michael Cheshire called Why We Eat Our Own on Amazon.com. They're one of our sponsors. We encourage you to go look at that book.